Advanced Health Sciences Psychology 2, Virtual Interactive Notebook 2, Emotion and Motivation. We are on day 2, and day 2 is, wait for it, theories of motivation. So today we're going to talk about, these are the early theories of motivation. This is what early psychologists thought motivated us to do something. Remember, motivation is needs and wants that direct behavior towards a goal. So we're going to start with James. James was the often called the father of American psychology, and he taught about instinct. So I'm going to read this definition. So for instinct, I want you to write species-specific behavior pattern that is not learned and encourages survival. Species-specific behavior pattern that is not learned and encourages survival. For example, it doesn't really matter whether a child is not given a lot of opportunity to practice walking and is given a lot of opportunity to practice walking. Generally, about a year after they're born, they'll start to walk. Kids just walk. And an example of this is the Navajo people traditionally keep their kids in a papoose. Mom keeps the kid with her in a papoose, a sort of strap system all the time, and they walk when everybody else walks. So that behavior is instinctual. You don't have to learn it specifically. It's not like if you don't teach a kid to walk, the kid won't walk. Eventually the kid walks, right? So, and that contributes to survival. We are evolved or designed to walk around on 2 feet. If we crawl, we're really slow and inefficient, and we can't get the food resources we need, and we can't protect ourselves. So an instinct is a species-specific behavior pattern that is not learned and encourages survival. Next came drive theory. Drive theory is the idea that, and this is what I want you to write down, deviations from homeostasis, remember homeostasis is the body in balance, deviations from homeostasis create physiological needs which create psychological drives that direct behavior. Let me do that again. Deviations from homeostasis create physiological needs which create psychological drives that direct behavior towards homeostasis. So your body is out of balance, right? That creates a physiological need, which creates a psychological drive, which directs your behavior to put you back into balance. So a good example would be you feel hungry. Your body is out of balance. You are not in a state of homeostasis. So your body signals your brain, I'm hungry. And then your brain comes up with a behavior to return you to homeostasis. So I got up this morning at 9 o'clock and I was hungry and I made a frozen pizza for breakfast and I returned to homeostasis. Well, why did I make a frozen pizza? Well, that's because of habit. So branching off of the drive section of today's notes, I want you to write habit. H-A-B-I-T, habit. Habit is a repeated behavior which reduces a drive. The reason why I made the pizza is I've made frozen pizzas so many times that for me, when I feel hungry and I'm motivated to go get food, the food I get is frozen pizza. So when I was in college, the cheapest protein I could get, because I had no money, the cheapest protein I could get were these microwave burritos. They still sell them. When I was in college, these burritos could be had for under $2. Now they're $3.50 at Walmart. It was a pack of 8 microwave burritos. And I found that 2 burritos could serve as a meal. And I ate these, I don't know how many triglycerides I consumed, but I ate these microwave burritos all the time, to the point that when I got hungry, I stopped thinking of mealtime and I just thought, oh, burrito time. My freezer was absolutely crammed full of burritos. My girlfriend was disgusted, but she spent a lot more on food than I did. I would get microwave burritos and bags of apples, and I just lived on burritos and apples for the longest time because that was my habit. And my habit was a repeated behavior which reduces a drive. So when you get a psychological drive and you satisfy it, right, returning you to homeostasis, your brain is highly motivated to remember that behavior because it's survival. So, hey, I was hungry. Hey, that worked. Let's do that every single time. So this explains why we have habits. Well, what about habits that don't have any particular purpose? Like you have a habit like this. Let's say I've known kids, they just snap their fingers all the time. Well, there is a psychological explanation for that, because if you feel that you're out of control and you have control over nothing, you can control this, right? And it gives you an internal sense of control, an internal locus of control, and that feels good. Another thing is the reason why my children still eat burritos a whole bunch. Yeah, he says I still eat burritos a whole bunch. The reason why my children, when they get bored, they'll go, "Wah!" or they'll make stupid noises, because at least something happens. So their drive is something needs to happen. I'm not satisfying my curiosity, my activity, and they find that at least something happens. They go, "Wah!" So they keep doing it. We're trying to break that habit. It's obnoxious. He's doing it right now. All right, finally, social motivation. So you are a community animal, and you are motivated to interact effectively with your society in 3 ways. 1, you have a need for affiliation. So under social motivation, social motives, I want you to write affiliation. And this is a need to belong to a group. You have a need to belong to a group of friends, a sports team. Something I've noticed about school clubs is they always want t-shirts, right? So they want to proclaim their involvement in this group. And there are people who join groups who never do anything. Right, they're called joiners. All right, you have a need for achievement. So we're talking about social achievement. You have a need for others to perceive that you have done well. You want to be thought well of by others. You want others to think that is an effective person. Look, they do good things. So you have a need for achievement. And achievement is the opinions of others. And finally, you have a need for intimacy. You want love from other people. Right? So you have a need for affiliation, achievement, and intimacy. And this is good. This stuff is pro-social if used wisely. So your need for affiliation means that if you want to fit in with a group, you have to be nice to group members. So even if you're not naturally nice or you don't want to be nice, you're nice anyway, because if you're not nice, they'll throw you out of the group. Well, that's pro-social stuff. That creates happier, safer people. If you're good to the people around you, that's good for the community. You have a need for achievement. You want others to think you're great. Well, if you do good things, other people benefit from that. So that's necessary in a group. And you have a need for intimacy. You have a need for other people to love you. And the best way to do that is to love them. So it's not like these 3 things are bad things, right? Now, they can become bad. So your need for affiliation. Well, someone joins a violent gang like the mafia, right? That's not exactly pro-social. But in places like prisons, prison gangs are rampant because people have a need to form groups, right? And that can be very negative. You have a need for achievement. Well, what if you want to be the toughest gang member on the block, right? And you hurt other people to do. Well, that's no good. And you have a need for intimacy. You can demand love from other people and scare them into displaying characteristics of love, even though they don't feel it. So these can be positive and negative. But in their positive aspects, they are necessary to build communities, right? So we have talked about instinct, which is a behavior that you don't learn, you just exhibit. Drive, and this is your body trying to return to homeostasis, and physiological need becomes psychological drive, and you satisfy it. And the way you satisfy it can become habit forming, right? And then you have social motivation. So affiliation, you need to belong to a group. Achievement, you need to be seen to be doing well. And intimacy, you want love, or you need love, rather. So that was today. For today's output, write down the 3 types of social motivation and discuss yourself in terms of each. How motivated are you to be part of a group? How does this affect your behavior? Repeat the exercise for achievement and intimacy. For me, it's Cascade High School. So affiliation. I mean, my entire social life is Cascade High School, right? The staff and I don't really do things with people who don't work at Cascade High School. So I'm automatically part of a group, and I feel part of a group, and I feel very secure in that. Achievement. I mean, you kids have called me up to read names at graduation, and I've been voted Teacher of the Year in honor, which I got to share with Mr. Menser, and that was pretty cool. So I feel like I have public honors. And then intimacy. You people give me so much love, right? That's more than anything else what keeps me going back to the school, is I get to be around people who give me love all day. And if I'm nice to them, they give me more, right? So there you go. That's how I would discuss that. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 3, Maslow.